people like that. And someday, Ellen's family we have a great granddaughter now, and she's coming to church here. And someday, these children are going to look back and they'll think, oh, well, our grandparents belong there, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents. And I hope Third North is still going along, and I'm sure it will be.
Now, the young people that we joined when we came to church were so important to our life and our friendship here. And there's been so many nice memories of those gatherings and being together. And the one thing I wanted to say, we came here also because of our kids. We wanted our boys to come to church. And we brought the boys to church. We went to Sunday school while they were at Sunday school. And I think that was very important to us. we benefited just as much as the boys did. So it was very, very important for us to find a church and bring the boys and get those people into it.
I came when I was 5. My mom, we moved here from Arkansas. And Mom wanted to find a Methodist church, so she visited several places. We came here, and of course, we were in a little church, because that's the only one that was here. And Marie Swinger came up to Mom and said, we have Sunday school for children, and I have a daughter, Pam, who is your age, or your daughter's age, and she can go to Sunday school with my daughter, and you can go to Sunday school with me. Well, we never left. We stayed. So I, of course, grew up here. That's a home church. I mean, where do you go? It's your home church. Well, Lynn wanted me to tell, one summer, we were in the little church, had no air conditioning, of course, had all the windows open, and Ethel Noble, who they were prominent members of the church, she was singing a solo. Mrs. Chapel was playing the organ, and she was singing His Eyes on the Sparrow. And at the very beginning of the old chapel, there's big beams in there, original beams, and a sparrow flew in and landed on one of the beams. Of course, everybody went, and she never quit singing, she just kept singing. So that was kind of a special memory. Then I was telling them all ago, I used to take care of the chapel children. We had 3 children, a boy and 2 girls, and we had 2 services. And I would take the kids to first church, and then they would go to Sunday school. Then I would take them second church home because Mrs. Chapel played the organ. So we were having communion, and Reverend Chapel was known to pray long. And we had pre-communion, and so we had the little cups. And he was praying after we taken the communion. He was praying, and I felt the little one, she was about 2.5, maybe 3. I felt her moving, and I thought, what is she doing? And I looked down, and she's grabbing as many of the cups and drinking the grape juice as she possibly could. And I said, stop that. And Reverend Chapel stopped his prayer, looked down at me and went, good call. There's just so many, there's so many. There's NYF, and my mom was sponsoring the NYF, and they had square dancing in the basement. I remember people coming on dressed in their square dance stuff. I thought that was so cool. And there's just so many fond memories. Our son got married here. I was very proud about that. Then, of course, I don't know. My son was baptized here. I was baptized in a little church. My husband was baptized here. You have things that make you proud. So, those are, personal things. Our great-grandson is Devin Dockery, and Devin is 12. And he was baptized in this church. His daddy goes there. When he first started in the 6th grade, he got to go to the youth group. He was so excited. He got to go to youth group. He loves youth group. So then he decided he wanted to go on a mission trip. So they went to Henderson Settlement. And I said, what did you do? Well, they got to drive cattle. Okay. What else did you do? Well, they got to build fences. Okay. So he's just a cool kid. A cool kid.
Well, I was married here. That was a big deal. My sons were both married here. In fact, they were, those were small weddings, and they were both married in the chapel. So, which has happened here. We had a scout troop that has been always active with Old North. In fact, when they were going through scouts, it was very active in Old North, and very tied to Old North. Not quite so much as it is today. And so there were some exciting moments there, especially on campouts in the middle of January and those kind of things. I think the other exciting moments have been, as I've gotten older, working more in outreach, especially, and working in fundraising, because that's what we have to do in order to reach out. So the Fall Festival trailer's been, I think it's been great fun. And sometimes it's great work, but there's always stories to tell about that. So I think anytime you do those kind of things, it builds camaraderie. So, whether it's or even Habitat, we've gotten very involved in Habitat, and I think that's fantastic work. I'm the guy that's always got his hand out. Sometimes I really hate that. Fundraising for Habitat, especially going out to other Methodist churches. So we've done a lot of that in the last couple of years. And actually, I am the chairman for the United Methodist Bill for Habitat for 2018. So I'll take that back. I'm the co-chairman along with Joey's. So we're building another house in 2018. We've got to raise the money and build a house. So Old North, I grew up here. I really did. I was probably 7 or 8 years old when I started. And it seemed like, left the college, came back, went to Old North. Moved out of town to Chicago, came back, went to Old North. It's just where I'm going to go. Now, I think in later years, it's really truly become my church family. And I think that's a good thing. One of the things that church has to be is a family to its members. We have to laugh together and cry together.
Jesus loves us all, okay? Jesus loves us all. Jesus loves a crooked wicked man. Even though he tells stories that have nothing to do with the sermon. Okay? Jesus loves Daniel Craig, even though he's way, way tall. Way, way tall. Jesus loves the smallest ones up here because we're way, way short. Jesus loves Miss Jen Craig because she has lots of hair. Dear God, thank you for this church. Thank you for this community. Help us to remain a big part of this community in God's service. And everybody asks in Jesus' name. And we all say, amen. Thank you guys.
And the corner over here, faith. And the corner over here, faith, hope, love. Little triangle. Both love and faith are absolutely necessary to keep the vineyard thriving. But they both feed the third corner, hope.
At Old North, there is something for everyone. We have many different groups and opportunities, and we have people of all ages participating in worship, service, and fellowship. Everyone works together toward the United Methodists' mission of making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. In addition to our legacy members who have been here for many years, we also have members who are newer to our fellowship. We asked a few of them to share their views about why they came to Old North and what they think is special about Old North United Methodist Church.
We started having children and I felt that we needed to start going to church. So I started coming when Dominic was a small child, and then we had Max as well. And we just attended ever since. It's welcoming. Everyone here, regardless of young, old, they all welcome you with open arms when you're here. My husband, when he does attend, they're very welcoming with them as well. We just like it, and it's a good home for us.
I enjoyed
My name is Erica McCombs. This is my husband Zach, and our children Emma, Clara, and Leo. And we became members of Old North United Methodist Church in May of 2010. We were starting to expand our family and were wanting a church home that we felt welcome.
I feel that no matter what age you're on, there's a peer group available to be as involved or as little involved as you want, but we like to see everyone involved, and it seems to happen no matter the age, especially the kids. The kids are all involved in something, and we have volunteered for several jobs that we have ended up enjoying, and we've been volunteering for some jobs that we ended up enjoying, and we continue to do that, so it's been fun for us to get a little bit out of our comfort zone, and it's been a lot of fun.
What I like about Old North is that you can come see people that you don't even really know, and you can still love them and they can still love you. We learn about Jesus and God.
Much of the work and the fellowship of Old North takes place in interest groups. We have many different groups. These are a few of them. Bible study groups that meet weekly to deepen spiritual growth.
And God says to us, I love you, and you're going to do better. You're going to do better because I love you, and you're going to do better because I'm expecting you.
United Methodist men who model servant leadership in many ways, including making home repairs to those in need. United Methodist women who adopt service projects each year and raise money to support mission work. The We Care group, which stays in contact with homebound and other members with health or personal challenges. An intentional faith development group, which meets weekly to study topics related to living a Christian life. And the choir, that sings sacred music to glorify God and to educate, inspire, comfort, and motivate the congregation.
My name is Brad Salmon. I came to Old North either in 1959 or 1960 at the ripe age of 1 or 1.5. I came here when my parents relocated from Aurora, Nebraska. I've been here ever since. One of the reasons I love this church has to do with the music ministry that we have. It is an extraordinary music program. And if you think about it, music is really something that you can use to glorify God. It lets you feel the emotion of the Lord. And I think that happens here at Old North. You can sit in a pew on any given Sunday and you can feel the presence of God through the music. John Wesley obviously is founded Methodism and believed in singing as a part of the worship. And I do believe that he has it right. And I think Old North has embraced that concept, whether it's been the music directors that we've had. And I started singing here as a teenager, probably in 72, 73. And since that time, I can think of 4 primary music directors we've had. We've had Shirley Shepard, who was a teacher at Oak Hill. We've had Jack Chernicow, who is an instrumentalist teacher at EBSC. We have had Dennis Noon, who's an instrumentalist in Mount Vernon. And now we have Dan Craig, who's in charge of the music program at the University of Southern Indiana. So we've been blessed with directors of music that have this great musical background, also very religious individuals that are able to combine the Word of God with the music that we present to the congregation. And by way of example, we have Usually, and most congregation doesn't know this, our music director will meet with the pastor, find out what the sermon is, and the anthem and the hymns are all created, or the ones we sing on a particular Sunday, are all to come up with a unified message to the congregation. And that only enhances the word and the message that God intends us to receive that day. I think the music ministry is a way that you can convey what God wants us to feel in a very emotional setting. Meaning, as you sit in a pew, you can feel what God wants, and you can feel the presence of the music, become emotional. I think that helps the worship experience. And I think through that, that's one of the reasons I stayed with the church. I think it's why my parents were with the church. It's why my daughter was raised in the church. And it's why my granddaughter is being raised in this church. So we think it's why people come to Old North. The music ministry is just one of those aspects of the great things that are happening in Old North.
Other groups include one that I was part of myself, the United Methodist Youth Fellowship. This group includes middle and high school age students who want to grow their faith and at the same time have fun with one another. They participate in the life of the church and they go on mission trips each summer. Children's group with year-round activities for children from Sunday school to vacation Bible school to acolyting to trunk or treat to Christmas performances. Old North is a great environment to grow up in.
Hi, my name is Melissa Steeler, and I am the director of the Children and Youth here at Old North United Methodist Church. And here at Old North, the children and youth are extremely important to us. We know that they are the future of our church, and we take the bringing of them in the Christian faith very importantly. We do a lot of great things through our Sunday school programs, through our youth group programs, and we also have a huge mission of our preschool here at the church. We want to make sure that they are part of our Christian family, that they know the foundations of the Christian faith, and all by doing having a great time and getting to know each other and getting to know everybody in the church.
Promise for 25 points. So you now have the commanding lead of 55 to 30. Team number 2, you're currently in last place. If you get this question right, you'll take over the lead. You'll go home as today's grand prize winner. If you don't get it correct, you'll go home in last place with a
consolation prize.
Israelites had complained against the Lord, and he had shown them his holy power by giving them water to drink. So they named this place Meribah, which means complaining for 25 points. So now we have 55 to 55.
One of the most unique features of our history is that our forebears believed in being inclusive long before the word became popular. We have a heritage of welcoming, respecting, and valuing all of God's children, even those who are different from us. From the start, way back in the 1830s, our meeting house opened its doors to all who worshiped here, regardless of their individual denomination or sect. The building was constructed by peoples of various faiths, and all were and are welcome for worship. According to oral history provided by those whose families were early members in our church, the basement of our chapel was a stop along the Underground Railroad, helping to provide passage for enslaved persons who crossed the Ohio River and headed to the free North. Later in the 1800s, when African American children were not permitted to attend public schools, our chapel became their school. As we noted earlier, our church was originally built as a resource for the local community, and it has continued to be a hub for community activities. In the early 1900s, the church had activities 5 nights a week that were community-oriented rather than church activities. They were things like dance classes, roller skating, and basketball. They even had a Stringtown Youth Club, complete with a jukebox. The Great Flood of 1937 was devastating to thousands of riverfront residents along the Ohio, but provided a special opportunity for Old North to serve the community. Our building on a high ridge was not directly impacted by the flood. The church, which by now included the chapel plus a large community hall attached to the rear, took more than 100 flood refugees, and our church members provided them with housing, food, and support for several weeks. Our church continues to take seriously Christ's concern for the least, the last, and the lost, and we revere John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, who admonished his followers to reach out into the world to spread the love of God by comforting and aiding the poor, the hungry, the sick, and the impoverished. We have sent out many domestic mission groups, and we have recently sent our first mission group to Guatemala. We have sponsored refugee families from Sudan and from Bosnia. We participate in habitat builds and an annual potato drop. We regularly serve in the soup kitchen, and we have a large and active fair trade market to help create opportunities for economically and socially marginalized producers and artisans.
We started the Fair Trade Market in 2010, and we decided to do this because of our church has always been mission-based, and we wanted this mission to continue with the Fair Trade Market. The Fair Trade Market, we get items from all over the world and sell them here, and the artisans that make these products earn a fair wage rather than pennies on the dollar. They're able to send their kids to school, put dinner on the table. We just feel like it's a good thing all around. And then the money that we earn from selling the products, we then we donate to mission nationally, locally, internationally. So we feel like our slogan is a double dose of thoughtful spending. One of the things I do hear from people is, the items in your shop maybe cost a little more than I could get it at Walmart, but also the people that make the items in the shop are able to get a living wage for what we're paying for them. So it ends up being, it maybe costs you more in one sense, but it's doing a better thing in another sense. Old North is totally behind this, we have all kinds of events. People come here and shop at Christmas. We have a jewelry soiree in February that's very well attended. Next week we're having a trivia night. It's one of our big fundraisers for the year because we are 100% volunteer run, and we don't make any money for our expenses because all the money that we make, we give back to mission. So we need something that gives us money to do things like buy register tape or whatever, something like that. So we have this trivia night fundraiser every year, and we are able to raise enough money with that to pay for some expenses and also some continuing education. Like we go to the Fair Trade Federation conference every year. This year we were able to send 4 people with them. It's very important that we are conscious of our environment, and everybody tries to recycle and reuse. This is something that this is from Kenya, and this is a soda can that somebody has taken and made into a dinosaur. We would take a soda can, throw it in the trash, or throw it in our recycle bin. They made something really clever and cute out of it. So we have, things like this. The elephant behind me, this is from India, and it's made from recycled saris. So that's a beautiful thing that they can do with fabrics that they aren't using anymore. A lot of our things also are, like this is a fan from Ghana, and this is using traditional methods of a craft that's been around for centuries, and now they're taking this and being able to make a decent wage for it. And it's made, from local grasses that are able to just easily obtain and make something really wonderful. Fair trade it's not all women that are the artisans. There are some men, but there are a lot of women, and these are, mostly third world countries where women have not had a way to make any money, and they can't send their kids to school, they can't, feed them, they can't clothe them, but they maybe know how to make these beautiful baskets, and so this makes it, to where they're able to provide for themselves and maybe make a better life for their children. And I think that speaks to every woman, and I think that's why the women at our church have really gotten behind it, and why we're all willing to take our time and work with this.
Although there are now many buildings in our area available for gatherings for valuable community organizations, our church continues to provide sponsorship or space for many outreach groups open to community members. These include a 4-H club, a Boy Scout pack, a mother of preschool group, a mental health group, music groups, and yoga classes. And our well-known and highly respected preschool is celebrating 50 years this fall. The history of Old North United Methodist Church has 3 striking features. First, it is a very long history. Discussions about the need for the building began a long time ago, way back in 1831, a time when there were no automobiles and no electricity, a time when most people traveled on foot, on horseback, or in a horse-drawn wagon. A time when the big town of Evansville had a population of around 300, and a trip there from Mechanicsville was arduous and sometimes treacherous. A time when our country had only 24 states, and Indiana was considered to be in the West. The Mechanicsville Meeting House, now our chapel building, is especially treasured because there are so few reminders of the early 19th century days and the people who lived here in the southwest corner of Indiana. Indeed, the chapel building is the oldest surviving public building in the entire county and one of the oldest buildings in use by United Methodist Church in the state of Indiana. Because the building is so old, it has witnessed much. If it could talk, it could tell how lives were impacted by the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and numerous other national tragedies and milestones. It could tell of new roads and houses, population growth, and the resulting changes in the woods and the countryside. It could tell of technological changes that were reflected in the building's furnishings, of the coming of electricity and indoor heating. But most importantly, woven through the tales would be the story of God's steadfast presence as a source of strength and blessings for the people of this congregation, and the story of how generations of faithful people have lived their lives as a testimony to their love for God and for their fellow human beings. A second striking feature of the history of Old North United Methodist Church is its heritage of acceptance and tolerance. Through our history, starting from the time the building was first envisioned, people have demonstrated an attitude of inclusiveness rather than exclusiveness. An article in the Evansville Courier Press in 1934 said that the church had the wisdom of 100 years. The article asserted that religious breadth and tolerance are emphasized. People here are interested in the application of Christian principles, not in dogmatic disputations. Looking back, we can identify a thread of inclusiveness in our church's history. The building was conceived of, built by, and used by members of many faiths for many years. The building is said to have been a station on the Underground Railroad. The building served as a school for African American children when they were not allowed to attend public schools. The church welcomed an African American pastor in a cross-racial appointment in 1985. The third striking feature of the history of Old North United Methodist Church is the way the building has been intertwined with the community. The building story is the story of a community's dedication and dream, a dream to become a stronger community, a dream to improve the lives of its members, a dream to have a neighborhood place to gather, to learn, and to worship. It must have been exciting to live in Mechanicsville in 1832 when the small settlement came together to plan this ambitious project of constructing a combination meeting house, school, church, right in their own community. Over the years, use of the building has evolved as life in the community has changed. In its early days, the building served as a meeting house and school as well as a church. As newer and larger schools and other public buildings appeared, the building transitioned to focus on religious uses. Indeed, since its initial construction, the building has always served as a church. It has thrived through a succession of more than a half a dozen names: Mechanicsville Meeting House, Mechanicsville Union Church, Stringtown Union Church, Stringtown Methodist Episcopal Church, Old North United Methodist Church, and Old North Chapel, just to name a few. But it stands today, as it did in the 1830s, a symbol of the importance of God to his people. Though its names and its usage have evolved over the years, this place on what is now called Stringtown Road has been a sacred spot for many generations of people. People from an ever-enlarging community came today, as they did in the past, to worship God, to seek better ways to follow Jesus Christ, and to do so in the company of others who want to share the love of God with the world. The people of Old North United Methodist Church proudly claim the heritage of their unique congregation and the United Methodist Church as they work to build a legacy of the believers who will succeed them in the future, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world.
coming to view our video. We would like to see and hear from many more of you on video. So if you would like to be and would be willing to be interviewed for a brief YouTube video that we would put on our website, we would love to do that in the coming months. If you just let me know, because we'd love to hear from more of you. Now, let me tell you what else is lined up for us today. The next thing is the part you've been waiting for. It's the meal. We will, in just a moment here, leave for dismiss to go to Fellowship Hall for the meal. All of you are invited. On your way, before or after, we invite you to enjoy the historical displays that we have set up at various places in the church. The first one is the timeline that is in the elevator corridor to your right as you leave the sanctuary. Downstairs, there are several bulletin boards. There is one of lots of snapshots. There is one of people who were married in Old North, either in the chapel or the sanctuary. And then there is one that has people's Old North favorite memories. And if you have not filled out one of those cards, we would love to have you do so. We're getting lots of them, but you can stick them around the corners, and we'll be saving those. Maybe 100 years from now, when people are doing another celebration, they'll pull out some of those cards and enjoy your memories. After you eat, you are welcome to come to the chapel, and I will be there to give mini tours. Also, the Fair Trade Market will be open, so you can browse and shop there. And is Pastor Mike here? Pastor Mike, can you come up here to the, if you would come up and bless the food before we get down there, then we would be dismissed.
All right, let's pray. Most gracious God, we do give you thanks for this day, this celebration. We know that the food downstairs was prepared with loving hands, that it might nourish us and strengthen us for your service, and we are grateful. Bless us as we go forward to your ministry and mission.